Well, is the Biden-Harris dream team suddenly Democrats' worst nightmare? That's the focus of a new Fox News op-ed as Colin Reed evaluates several crises that have marked the first year of Joe Biden's presidency. This, as the commander-in-chief is reportedly considering a run for re-election. Republican strategist Colin Reed joins us now. Colin, thanks for being here. Never too early to play the speculation game, which is what you did here. But when Joe Biden insists and his other advisors insist he's going to run again, it doesn't sound very full-throated. There's plenty of room for them to change their mind, and it seems that's what most Democrats are thinking.
Well, that's the amazing part, Pete, is it's been an open secret, I think, in Washington, D.C. that Joe Biden is not going to run again. Of course, he has to say he is, because if he doesn't, the wolves immediately start circling. But right before the Thanksgiving break, even Democrats are out there saying, hey, this guy, he can't run again. And that's pretty remarkable that less than 10 months into the administration, neither the president nor the vice president, for that matter, are qualified or capable of leading their ticket in the next election. That's a pretty amazing scene. We haven't even got to the midterms yet, and already there's nothing going on beyond right now. So
Joe Biden's poll numbers have tanked. Kamala Harris's are 10 points worse. Usually the vice president, especially the first woman of color vice president, would be right there, you would think, to be the standard bearer for the party. But her name's barely mentioned, almost passed over quickly. Where do they go to look for a nominee? And is there any way for it to be orderly, or is this going to turn into a food fight?
Well, that was kind of where I went with the piece, Pete, is there's no bench. There's just nothing beyond there. And if I struggled really hard to come up with some names. A lot of the contenders are either, getting too long in the tooth, or they're too young in the case of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, at least for now. So unless there's some Barack Obama-esque figure waiting in the wings who's going to burst onto the national scene and save the party, it seems hard to see. And with all the speculation, all the media focus on the Republican side, the party in charge right now is leaderless, essentially. And this might be the high point for all we know, because as the clock ticks, we're already almost in December. There's no legislative accomplishments to point to. And if we start going into another discussion and hyperbolic situation about COVID, and it's the latest variant, that's just going to sidetrack things even further. Joe Biden's presidency is at the mercy of the pandemic, and that's unfortunate, and that's not a position that any politician should put themselves in, but it's the bar he set when he said he was going to, quote, crush the virus when he was running last year. So he set the bar for success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he set the bar and he fell short.
You speculated with Bernie Sanders, he's 80. You speculated with Comrade Cortez, she's 32, barely meets the threshold by 2024. Then you threw some names out there, Hillary Clinton and John Kerry. I mean, do you really think they would go backwards in 2024? Or, the name everyone's talking about right now is Pete Buttigieg.
Well, right. And I mean, we could only be so lucky if we had folks like Hillary Clinton and John Kerry decide to throw their hat in the ring. Usually elections are about the future, not the past. Those two are certainly vestiges of the past. And as for Biden, look, with the possible exception of Tom Brady, Father Time waits for no one. So these numbers are just not going in the right direction for them. Yeah. And again, they need someone to come out of the wings and save them from themselves. But that person, whoever he or she is hard to find.
Yeah, not to mention voters are rejecting the policies they're attempting to put in place, and their lives are getting worse in the process. Colin Reed, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Great op-ed. People should check it out.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.